Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Applebox Chronicles. My name is Peyton Buto.
And I'm Adryon Thomas.
And today on the ABCs, we're taking you from A to Z on Disclosure Day, the new Steven Spielberg movie. Do we even need to introduce it beyond that?
What's interesting is that it's very polarizing right now. Not very, but somewhat, kind of, mostly polarizing, honestly.
Of course it is. And it is our rejection of this that is leading to our extinction. Not to spoil how we feel about the movie, but
yeah, we'll go into non-spoilers really quick. Probably won't be here too long, but so far our thoughts are that we both like it quite a bit.
Yes. We're both Spielberg fans. You more than me by a lot.
I've been a Spielberg head since I was like 5 or something. I don't know. Since I first saw Hook.
You were hooked.
I was hooked from the moment I saw the first Spielberg movie. I don't know. Spielberg is my favorite director of all time. Just a little warning, a little update. A little bias warning. He is my favorite filmmaker of all time. He is the reason why I got into films and wanted to be a filmmaker myself, and why we started this podcast so we could talk about filmmakers. So, big deal with this guy coming out with the movie. Bigger deal that the movie is very talked about because a lot of people have a lot of different opinions and thoughts and ideas with this movie. A lot of the criticisms, we'll get into it, but I think are very surface level. A lot of people not really looking really into what the movie's trying to say or what it's trying to convey, the themes that it has. Some of that I could understand people not fully understanding because you kind of have to know a bit about Spielberg to fully understand what he's doing with this movie artistically, personally, and all the ideas that he loves to dive into and the themes that he loves to get into.
Yeah, if you didn't know, his parents got divorced.
It's a big one in this.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you knew that.
Yeah, there's Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's stick with the spoiler-free stuff for now. For my first viewing of this movie, I saw it at the IMAX, at the Bullock Museum here in Austin, Texas, which is like one of the biggest screen in Texas.
Biggest screen in Texas, just in terms of size. It's real laser IMAX. It's not Limax.
No.
But this movie was not shot for IMAX, so you don't get those big aspect ratio changes, but it's still really cool to see it projected on such a large screen.
They also had an exclusive Q&A for all the IMAX showings that day with Spielberg and Emily Blunt. They were broadcasting it live, and that was pretty cool. They kind of it was interesting that they did one before the movie instead of after the movie, but they just kind of highlighted like how they felt when making the movie, some of their influences, and what, just kind of briefing us on that, what to expect when watching the movie.
Yeah, well, what was really cool about it that I've never seen before is that they actually let everyone all over the world scan a QR code and not in like the bad way in the movie theater, scan a QR code and like type in a question before the movie, and then they actually answered a few from around the world.
Yeah. There.
So like lucky few people got chosen. I think if I had gotten chosen, I would have like actually popped off. I would have been like, "What?"
That's me.
He actually answered my question. That's crazy. But yeah, super fun to see this on the IMAX. It was actually, I don't even know if you knew this, but it was actually my third time watching it. That day. I saw it twice the Thursday it came out. In a row, because I was like, whoa, we got to run it back. There's a lot in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, right after the first time that I saw it, I knew that I had to like immediately watch it again as soon as possible, because first of all, I hate you guys because you guys hyped it up in ways that the movie is not. Like a lot of the initial reactions to this movie, though positive, was very misleading.
You can't listen. You can't ever listen to that because
I know.
Even though sometimes they're on the money, like you kind of just have to like accept that. I think today especially, a lot of the early reactions to movies are, unfortunately, people trying to, and I'm not saying they're lying about how much they like the movie or whatever, but the way that they kind of hyperbolize it, if that's even a word.
Yeah.
They use hyperbole in a way that's like trying to get pull quoted or trying to get a viral tweet or something.
Yeah, like the one guy who's like, "Oh, this is the best movies made in 20 years."
Yeah.
It's like, what are
you talking about? He's been made banger after banger after banger after banger for like this entire past century of his career, in this century.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of movies that people weren't as big of a fan of, but the best movie in 20 years is like, so was The Fabelmans not one of his best movies? So was West Side Story not one of his best movies that he's done? Like, I'm not saying that this movie is worse or better than those movies, but that's...
Yeah, I mean, like, to say it's his best movie since 2006 is like a valid take if that's how you feel, but I do feel that is the kind of hyperbole that feels a little bit like they didn't really think it through when they said it. Maybe. But, I mean, maybe that person feels very passionately about that.
Also, like...
I want to listen to them.
Also, like, this movie has a lot of Spielberg-isms very directly, and a lot of people were saying, like, it was like this Spielberg movie, or it was like that movie, or it was like this movie, or it wasn't like this movie, or it's not like this movie that Spielberg has made. And I found that all to be very misleading as well.
Maybe just unhelpful,
and it drove expectations into ways that people might even get upset going into the movie and not getting what they thought they were going to get.
Yeah, even with a legendary director like Spielberg, who's very old now, you can't just you can't always box anyone in and be like, they're not going to make another movie that's not like this, or like they have to do it like this, or how well do they accomplish doing it like they've done it before, and let's leverage it against all their other work. I think that's just never helpful, because I think, you always have to, I feel like the similarities highlight the differences, and I love all the homages in this movie to his other movies. I think it all is a nice, piece intertextually with the rest of his work, but to try to draw these connections is to lose sight of what this movie is doing that's unique and that's different, and that highlights, that we're all, as storytellers, are going to have different experiences throughout all of life. You don't just stop changing your perspective, I think, ever. You don't reach, like, I have reached peak perspective on the world and I don't have anything else to learn. I think if you think that way, then you won't be able to tell new stories.
Yeah, and again, expectation is a bit of everything when it comes to movies, and like whether or not you want to see a movie or not. And with this movie, I think what kind of irked me a bit more was the fact that people were like, it's not like Close Encounters like you think it is. To me, this was like the closest he's ever gotten to Close Encounters again. Like, I don't know what you guys were talking about.
It's very close to Close Encounters.
It's very, like...
It has, like...
It's different in a lot of ways, but it is the closest to Close Encounters that I've ever seen him be in a movie.
It's the closest encounter. I think it has, like, a little bit of E.T.
It's got E.T. I mean, E.T. is... Even Spielberg has said is, like, the middle act. Close Encounters is, like, a first act. Disclosure Day is like the third act of this kind of unofficial alien trilogy.
Yeah, and with all of these movies, he's exploring a similar themes that we'll get into later, in terms of the spoilers and everything.
I do think a little bit of accuracy was in people saying it's a little bit of Minority Report. It does have kind of that look and feel that's similar to that. What kind of threw me off was people saying that it was like an Indiana Jones movie. I mean, it's Spielberg. I could see some of that stuff in there, but like...
There is one scene that felt very Indiana Jones to me, but it's still within this very sci-fi context, but it felt the way that the characters and the protagonist, the antagonist were facing off, and the kind of adventurous, playful nature of that sequence. I know you know what I'm talking about, I think. And it reminded me of a little bit of an Indiana Jones sequence.
And like I said, I kind of get it, but then the way people were talking about it almost felt like I was just going to go into another Indiana Jones movie, and that's not what this movie is. People say it's like the movie's like just one long chase sequence. Yeah. It's not, really. Like, there's pauses in moments, and we get a bit more substance in what's going on and what is being revealed, but it's not like a Tintin movie where it's like just constant, like, oh my god, this is some crazy stuff happening right now. It's more of a metaphorical and thematic, kind of a big brain movie in a way. It's more of a thinker than it is a movie to just visually intake.
And I don't even know if it's a thinker, because I do think a lot of the messaging is very in your face and obvious. But like, I think that's the idea behind this movie. It's disclosure day, right?
Well,
let's put it all out there.
It's a thinker because weirdly
it's
enough,
spiritual.
But a lot of people aren't thinking about the movie.
Yes,
it's funny because it's so in your face about what it's about and what it's trying to do and what it's trying to say, and yet people are completely misreading it, like, altogether. They don't know how to kind of see and understand this movie.
Again, I think it's because they're leveraging against other films that deal with aliens that he's made. So yeah, I think that's why it's been a bit divisive. We'll get into it too. Like, a lot of people have been very, I say this like CinemaSins like about the movie.
They've been very surface level about how they're interpreting.
I just think it's like we're looking for all the logic and like they're not. Well, what I think usually when I'm watching a film is like, this film is this a new world, right? So it follows new rules. So you kind of have to just try to read where the consistency is in the movie, not like assuming it's supposed to replicate reality, because I do think this movie, without giving away anything, is not seeking to replicate reality. It is seeking to present a reality we could reach if we did a few things differently. So a few things that are just like givens with how this movie, spoiler free, the visuals and the camera work is second to none.
Spielberg is such a great filmmaker that he still has me in awe of how he makes some of the stuff that he's doing. Like, there are moments in this movie where I'm just like, how did he do that? Like, and it's like, it's not even that much in your face. Like, there's moments where they're shooting in a car, and I'm just like, how are they shooting? How are they moving this camera in this car in ways that both you have to kind of move the camera, see the characters, hide the camera operator or whatever mechanism. Are they in an actual driving car? I doubt it, but it also feels like they are. Like, there's a lot of things going. Like, there were moments in which I was like, genuinely, I was like, how did they shoot that?
He still finds a way to maintain the illusion.
Yeah.
And put the camera and move the camera in ways that are almost like impossible.
Yeah.
And the way that you actually think about it, but you're so caught up in the moment, and it helps you be caught up in the moment. The use of reflections and the weaving in of different compositions in like a single continuous take.
He makes
the oneers
so easy. The oneer in this movie is so fantastic. I'm sure most people don't even recognize that it's a oneer, and how complex it is, as well as the performance that Emily Blunt is giving in that oneer, which it blows my mind, the fact that they had to like block that, memorize it, put it all together, and make it still work.
And it's all like what I like to say about Spielberg that I've often said is that he makes these, a lot of people say this, he makes these movies that combine such incredible artistry and such mass appeal like entertainment and they're personal at the same time.
Well,
He's like the perfect blend of those two things, but it's this kind of stuff where it's like you are making the movie so efficiently that it is wildly impressive if you actually understand technically what he's doing and you're watching for it, but it is also invisible to people who are just looking to eat popcorn and have a casual time.
This is why they have that kind of saying in which it's like when you're young, when you've only seen a few movies and you see a Spielberg movie, you're like, this is the best director of all time. But then you see a few more movies. You see like 100, 200, 300 movies, and you're like, nah, he's overrated. He's whatever. You see way more movies. You understand the craft of filmmaking. You go back to Spielberg, and you're like, no, he is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. At least in America. Like one of the greatest American filmmakers of all time. And it's like he's doing things that are just so masterful, both technically, personally, emotionally, and visually, like sonically, like everything. Like his collaborations with everybody that he works with just makes it easy for him to make great films. Like the score, John Williams, 94 years old, still making music, and it's still great. It's so good. There's a little bit of E.T. in there. There's a little bit of Star Wars in there. There's a little bit of other stuff in there. But it's still just a great, wonderful film score that, like, you just don't hear this kind of classical kind of film scores anymore. A lot of scores these days are very drony and kind of atmospheric and in the background, not very melodic or not a lot of, like, motifs or leitmotifs. But John Williams, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
like he truly is. Like in terms of being a film.
I mean,
composer.
we're seeing the emergence of future GOATs like Ludwig Göransson. I think is going to go down as one of the greatest film composers.
To me, he is like the next John Williams. I don't think there has been.
And then that makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world because you have also said Ryan Coogler is like the next Spielberg. And they are a pair.
Yeah,
they're working together constantly, so that makes sense. Of course, the acting is great. I mean, you have an amazing cast of people, but Emily Blunt is the standout for everybody, and I agree. She's doing something really fantastic. This is probably my favorite performance I've seen of hers.
She's really, like, doing everything in her arsenal. She's being very funny in a lot of scenes. She's very emotional in a lot of scenes. She's kind of, like, edging on between of both.
Yeah, she's incredibly sincere, too, like... when she looks characters in the eyes in this movie and says certain lines, it's like she just has this kindness, and this sensitivity to her as well in this movie that I really like that she plays with. There's
also just a technical aspect to her acting that is so impressive. Like again with the Oneer, she had like little mild spoilers. We're not in the spoiler section.
It's not huge.
Yeah, but she speaks like different languages. Which is like very well too, like
and not just the alien language that you're hearing,
but like she sounds very good. Like when she flips into another language or she's doing something just crazy like that, and I'm like that she's so good. She's almost underrated with a lot of the stuff she's been in and like some of the roles. Like she needs to be in more roles that really showcase her abilities, and this is one of those movies.
Yeah, she's incredible, and I want to shout out two actors that I don't think are getting enough love in this movie quite as much as Josh O'Connor. I love Josh O'Connor so much.
Great.
This is not maybe my favorite character he's played. Like I do kind of think if I were to criticize the movie, like the few problems I might have with it on a nitpick level is like Daniel Kellner, he just doesn't grab me quite the same as I feel like a Spielberg protagonist usually does. But Emily Blunt is there to make up for that as well. But I love Josh. I love his... he kind of has a similar earnestness that he had in Knives Out to this character. Where
ironically, he has different beliefs than that
Yes,
character.
but when, he talks, like when he is giving that line that you see in the trailer where he's like, the truth belongs to everyone. and he's telling Eve Hewson's character, who's also, I think, a great performance in this movie. I just love the way he delivers these lines. Like, I don't know. There's something so warm about Josh O'Connor, and it's so weird because I started with Challengers getting to know him as an actor, and that character is like a total jerk, and like kind of a shitty person. But then I turn around, and now ever since I've just been so moved by his screen presence, and so I love him. And the other actor that I wanted to mention before. Like, there's other ones, but these are ones I don't feel is getting enough talk about, is Colin Firth.
Yeah, nobody's talking about Colin Firth in this. Like, I haven't heard almost anybody talk about him in this performance, even though he's doing really well. I think Emily Blunt is just so good in this movie that she kind of overshadows everybody else.
But I've seen people literally say she's, like, in a different movie and everyone else is not good. That's what's shocked me. Is that people are like, they're acting in a different movie. She's like acting circles around everyone. I think her character I think it's simply a matter of her character having more to do. It's a more demanding role.
And she's a very important character in the movie as well.
But Colin Firth, I love him in this movie. Like, immediately seeing him, he has this perfect, like, you can tell he's the bad guy, but there's a heart to him. There is a humanity underneath. And I love some of the way he delivers these.
He also has like a great physical transformation as well.
Yes.
Not very obvious, but it's like you could tell his character is just getting drained.
Yeah, there's something weakening him in the movie. That there's also like a physical, like an eye color change that happens with him. Like, I just think he has a great look for it, and I would have never imagined him in this role. If I was seeing it on the page, but I think he was perfectly cast. And Coleman Domingo is as great as he ever is.
He's always going to be great. I don't think I've ever seen a Coleman Domingo performance where I wasn't like, yeah, he's fantastic right here or in this role. Yeah. When I first noticed Coleman Domingo, I think it was in Zola.
Like, oh my God, he's so good.
I've seen him beforehand in other movies. He actually has been in another Spielberg movie. He's been in Lincoln for like one scene at the very beginning, which he's great in, and also Lincoln, very slept on. That's like
Lincoln's fantastic.
That is like top tier Spielberg that people just sleep on. Like, watch Lincoln, please. But yeah, him and Zola, I was just like, this guy is on another level. And then he was also like in Euphoria, which also like caught my eye. I was like, yeah, this guy just can't do wrong.
Yeah, and ever since like Sing Sing, like he's just been, in a bunch of stuff that I have really loved. I thought he was great in The Running Man last year. Like, yeah,
even in movies that you might not like the movies that he's in or the projects that he's in, he's still like one of the best parts of everything that he's in.
And in this movie, again, he has a phenomenal earnestness. The relationship, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the relationship he has with the Colin Firth character, it almost reminds me of Charles Xavier and Magneto in a weird, in a way. That kind of this dynamic. Maybe it's a little, like, I guess, sappier than that, but it is really cool to see those two guys. They're like older dudes, like, going head to head philosophically. There's just a great scene of that. So otherwise, everything in this movie technically is amazing.
I will say the first time I saw the movie, I wasn't in love with the pacing.
It's always you and the pacing.
Well, I mean, a movie has to feel.
No, I know, but I feel like we often just don't agree.
Yeah, but I mean, I will say this: the second time I saw it, it went away. Like I didn't feel it at all. But I do want to say, and nobody's been saying this either, which is like
you're the one who would point this out.
Because I am the biggest Spielberg fan. Like, don't even try to. I am the biggest Spielberg. Anyway, this movie is not directed. This movie was not edited by Michael Kahn. If you know anything about Spielberg, Michael Kahn has been his editor ever since Close Encounters. Before that, his editors was Verna Fields and Sugarland Express, and there was another editor. I think his name was Frank Morris, who did Duel. Anyway, he's worked with Michael Kahn on every single movie he's ever done after Jaws until this movie. This movie is edited by someone else, Sarah. I forgot her last name. I'm so sorry, but the co-editor with Michael Kahn on his past few movies. So this is the first movie in which it's just this one editor without Michael Kahn.
Well, perhaps Michael Kahn was...
He's old.
Well, I'm saying maybe this is a passing of the torch. It's like,
yes.
You're now going to be
yes.
the Spielberg editor.
I feel like that very much is the case. He is credited as being like a co-producer on this movie, which means that he did have a bit of an insight, and he had like some sort of maybe a supervisory role in terms of the editing room. But I just found it very interesting that this is the first and only Spielberg film that I could think of watching for the first time and feeling like the pacing wasn't initially on. I had to watch it a second time for me to fully feel out the movie properly. But then again, I also want to say that again, I kind of went in the movie with the expectation of it being kind of different.
Yeah.
So I kind of had to reevaluate my expectation the second time going in and kind of taking it in the way that it's meant to be. And of course, I loved it the second time around, and I thought it was great.
But with that being said,
we should just
probably get into the spoiler section. So if you haven't seen Disclosure Day, go watch Disclosure Day. We recommend it. Come back, listen to the rest. If you have seen Disclosure Day, which I assume by this point you probably have if you're looking to see it, here we go.
Again, I am biased on this as a Spielberg fan, but I do think that this is a movie worth watching twice. Because
definitely.
And a lot of movies are honestly worth watching twice or more than one time. But with this movie, I think that initial reaction to the movie is kind of an interesting one. Because I feel like a lot of people have that initial, like, oh, this is different than what I thought it was going to be. And then once you get that first initial reaction out there, the second time around going through it, you could finally kind of dig and kind of uncover what the movie's really about and what it's really trying to say, rather than kind of figuring it out and putting the pieces together as the first time you watch it. Because I feel like that kind of takes a little bit away from what the movie's like truly about.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, spoilers. Let's just start off with the first shot, which is one of the craziest first shots of any Spielberg movie I've ever seen.
I was like so weirded out by like I did not expect the movie to open like that. But it opens with this wrestling match, and like the camera, it's like a black screen, and then like a foot, is kicking the camera, and kind of the camera's just getting fucked up. Like this guy, the camera of the POV of the other wrestler, and then you see all the people cheering, and you see Josh O'Connor in the crowd. But what's interesting is that we kind of had this thought that or you kind of explained this to me, because I was like, why thematically open on that, right?
Yeah.
Like, a first shot of a movie is always important.
Yeah.
So why open on that?
And the movie is about empathy, and it's about understanding each other and communicating with each other, and the opposite of that is just violence. And that's what wrestling is. Nothing against like pro wrestling, that could be all fun because it's not real and all, but this idea of violence and masculinity and kind of this overarching like
and even cynicism, right?
And this patriarchal kind of feeling. For instance, by the time we've put this out, it would have been a week from the White House presenting a UFC fight right on its lawn. Like, that's incredibly weird and just so unprofessional, and it kind of showcases the state of the United States that we are in right now, and it kind of starts off this violent entertainment that people are
violent
into.
Spectacle that everyone's cheering for. I mean, there's even a line when Daniel Kellner is there to like deliver the stuff that he has in exchange for his girlfriend, who they've abducted to get a hold of him, and they're like, relax, enjoy the match. We're just gonna make sure that everything you brought is here. And it's kind of like he's more worried about her. Obviously, he's not there for the match. But I think the movie kind of challenges us immediately to be like, okay, like,
it's like, what's happening? Where are we at?
Well, not just that, but to think like,
why do we start here?
Okay, I'm trying to get this going. What I meant was, the movie is, in a way, showing how we would be more interested in a battle, spectacle, violent thing than a movie like this, which is incredibly earnest, incredibly hopeful, incredibly optimistic, trying to, put forward a very, simple message, but something that, it does feel like we've kind of lost sight of, which is this message of empathy and this hope for, connectivity and everything, extending empathy to something you don't understand. So, like, it's kind of showing the state of the audience. Yeah. It's being honest that it's like most people would rather that this would be like an alien invasion movie where they're fighting each other and the audience would cheer for that, and we would enjoy it if it was more similar to, something of that nature.
Yeah, they wanted much more of like an action type movie, and it's
this is like a paranoid thriller, I would say.
Again, it's much more close to Close Encounters of the Third Kind than anything else, because if you look at Close Encounters, it's not a violent movie. It's more of a paranoid thriller alien movie where this guy's trying to figure out what's happening. He's trying to find the truth, very much like this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not like there's not a romantic sex stuff happening in that movie. There's no harsh, violent, gory stuff happening. It's purely based on this one man's desire to find the truth.
In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that besides the wrestling match, the beginning of the movie, which is making this point, the entire rest of the film features characters not directly, like, in a physical way engaging in violence with each other. Like, they try to push the car into the train. That's one. But there's no, like, punching, shooting that's direct. I mean, they're chasing him in the car.
The guy does like shoot at them during the chase sequence.
Correct, but it's
mainly it.
But I'm saying there's not a direct like battle or conflict. It's running away. Right? It's avoiding violence. And even later, we see them use this invisibility cloaking thing to like get away from the situation, and they don't hurt anybody. They don't actually kill anybody. And even when they have the jump on them, they pick them up and drag them away. They don't punch them or beat them up or do anything crazy. And so it's like, I think the movie is actually intentionally contrasting the audience of the wrestling match being excited over violence and the movie denying us that for a lot of it, and being like, no, this is not going to be people shooting at each other and fighting each other. And then I see all these criticisms of the next scene, which is when Daniel meets Colin Firth outside, that like, oh, they could just shoot him right here. But the whole idea behind the movie is that there should be another way around our conflicts than that.
And I also like how the movie opens in the middle of a story. Like, again, this is kind of going back to the fact that this movie is kind of like the third entry to kind of like an unofficial trilogy. So it's kind of starting little more than halfway through the story, and so we're already in it. We're just kind of catching up in a way, and Emily Blunt's kind of like our bridge into the true nature of what Disclosure Day is going to be. But we're already like in the middle of the stealing of the planet. It's like starting A New Hope they're like in the middle of stealing the plans for the Death Star.
Yep,
but
exactly.
In this one, they're in the middle of
He's on the run with the plans, or so to speak,
with the device. And yes, this is a movie that is going against the grain of violent spectacle, and would rather go into another direction. Would rather be more of an emotional spectacle, if anything. It's trying to get to the hearts of the viewer rather than the violent and cynical urges of the viewer, which is hard. Which is a hard thing to do. People are very cynical today, and they're kind of using that cynicism as a way to critique the movie itself, when it's the opposite. The movie's critiquing us for how cynical we are, and we're kind of proving that we as humans are just so unempathetic that we can't even, like, at least give it a chance.
Yep, exactly. And I love the motif in this movie, I'll just bring it up now, of windows, because when you see Colin Firth the first time, he's framed through that car window. And I know that you've told me that this is a Spielberg staple, and I already knew that as well, like, watching it. I was like, oh, these superimpositions of images through reflective glass doors and windows, very Spielbergian thing to do, the way that he would maneuver the camera and show different things in a single shot very efficiently with this stuff. But I don't think you should separate any formal technique from the content of a movie either, because I think
you could use it in different ways to show different themes and different characters.
The reason that I believe that this is intended in this movie in this way is because there is also a strong repetition of windows being surpassed or opened or broken. Yeah. So, I mean, from the very beginning, you have the cardinal that flies through the window because he opens it. Yeah. Wyatt Russell's character opens it. And then, throughout the movie, Daniel crashing into the window to get Jane at the farmhouse, him kicking the windshield so they can escape the car, the window being halfway down at the convenience store, and Margaret is able to communicate to Jackson through the child that's in there. I do think, the windows kind of showing the reflections, showing the connectivity between everybody, that we're all, we think there's these dividers between us, but really they show us like that we're the same.
Even
right?
During the kind of flashback sequence, when
she walks through.
She walks through. She says it feels like warm water.
Curtain of warm water, exactly. And so there's all these different things, constantly shooting from outside windows to superimpose images. You see even when Hugo is first shown on screen in the kind of profile that they have of him in the Wardex hub, and it's shown right next to Colin Firth, and like reflecting the antagonists and the protagonists, showing the kind of they are still connected. And later in the movie, when the protagonists get saved or abducted by other protagonists, they don't know at first. They think it might be the bad guys. Yeah. So it shows there's a bit of a connectivity and a similarity that they're trying to deny, as well as the fact that when the windows are gone, we're able to see each other clearly without that ego of ourselves and our own reflections. And I think that's what this movie challenges us to do as well, is to try to see the world through the eyes of another person, really understand them, really listen to them. Even if you disagree or don't like them, try to see what's troubling them to do the things that they do, because I think this movie also implies that oftentimes bad people are doing bad things rather because of something within them that like tells them they have to, that has nothing to do with it in a way.
Yeah.
Everybody has like a family member or something, some kind of trauma that like Emily Blunt's character is able to naturally tune into. It's like she says it's like she is them, and it's like if you really saw the world through the eyes of another person with outside context, though, you would be able to kind of be like, oh, this is what's troubling you. Like, this is the problem. And it's almost like taking out a splinter. It's like, this is why you're hurting. So it really, I think, works. The whole idea of windows and such.
Yeah, no, it's again, two big themes that we've kind of written down here that the movie's really trying to convey is communication and empathy. Like, you need those too. in terms of communication.
Twos.
Twos.
Those are the two things.
Yeah.
And those are literally the two things that Daniel and Margaret represent.
Yeah. We'll just talk about communication first, because the movie, the setting of the movie takes place in a heated kind of political area right now. They're kind of getting ready for World War III, and there's a moment during the winter where they're talking to a Korean spokesman or something.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of a lost in translation thing going on where they're not really understanding each other, but she's able to understand him because she said that she listened to him. It's like,
yeah, it was something like he said something about the conflict, and they were like, "Oh, you're saying it's justified," and she's like, "No, he's saying it's familiar and that it's a cyclical."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, the words are similar. Sorry." And she's like, "I don't think you were listening to him." I think.
Yeah, and that's kind of the whole case with just the political aspect of this movie, mirroring the political nature of humans themselves. Is like sometimes the biggest conflicts that we have in this world are just because we have bad communication with each other. It's like there's some kind of miscommunication going on, and if we just listen to each other more, I think we would get over whatever problems we're going through. Again, this idea of empathy and understanding each other makes it, first of all, it makes it less willing of us to want to hurt other people that we don't know. If we understand them more, we wouldn't want to do that because they're people too. We just need to understand what the differences in each other. And again, the only way to do that is through communication. Another big another great situation that she's in is with her boyfriend, and they're having bad communication. She wants to leave, he wants to stay, but they're not
talking about it.
They're not understanding each other. And when she gets kind of
awakened,
sleeper celled, she starts speaking in Russian for the first time, and he's like, "Whoa, what's going on? What's happening?" And it's kind of like how they're talking to each other, but this is more in your face. It's like she's speaking another language, except when they were talking initially, she was speaking English, but he wasn't. They weren't communicating to each other properly.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also that it might as well be that she's speaking Russian, because he's not listening to her.
Yes.
And also, I think the reason we start with Daniel and then we later are introduced to Margaret is because I think Spielberg is getting at the fact that, well, he represents communication, and there is a connectivity to the world that we have, which is we can communicate with each other rather easily through our phones and through computers, and he understands the language of computers very well, and he's an analyst, computer scientist guy, and
he's a security.
He's a security expert, and so it's he talks about how the cardinal bird awakened him when he was younger, and it kind of awakened that ability in him, and it closed himself off from people.
Yeah, he could read math.
He's like, I can read code like it's English, and it closed myself off because it was horrible to be around people. And then she is the next person that needed to be awakened for them to actually get where they needed to be, but it took much longer. And so I think Spielberg jumping us into the middle of Daniel's story is kind of being like, okay, you guys were given all these devices to really easily communicate to each other, but you need to infuse empathy into your communication.
That's the thing. So he's the communicator. He needs to communicate, even in himself, as a person, he has ways of communication. He just doesn't have the essence of the empathy that gets it through. And the same with her. She has this abundance of empathy, this superpower of empathy, but she doesn't have a way to communicate it through people. She's just kind of confused, and so you have to mesh the two together. They have to come together to kind of convey these ideas of aliens through empathy.
Yeah, and I think I think Spielberg's kind of getting at the fact that we are more like Daniel. Yeah. Like we do have the ability to communicate to each other really easily, but we're not listening, and we're not doing so with empathy. And you have to have, like you said, both. I mean, even the way that he talks to Jane about her history at the church is like, or church, is that the right word to use?
Yeah, they were at a church.
Okay, I
believe
it's
like a monastery.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to say, but I couldn't remember the word. I'm sorry, I'm not in. I don't know all the religious terminology for things, but anyway, when he's talking about her faith and her history with that, he kind of is like upset. He's like, you kept that from me, like you're an actual nun or whatever, and she's like, you have a lot of nerve to be keeping secrets when your job is keeping secrets. And he kind of makes the delineation. He's like, I had to do it. But it's just interesting how he's not empathizing with her way of why she felt the need to conceal that, right? Because what he's doing is based on something systemic and contractual. It's like, you signed your life away, you have a job to do, and you have to keep secrets from people because it's your job. So it closed him off and isolated him in a lot of ways. With her, she had a emotional reason for hiding these things. She said, people judge you. I omitted a part of my story because people judge you for these things. And he's offended that she omitted that from him, but it's like he's not understanding the emotional vantage point that she is having about that.
Yeah,
because he's not empathizing with it.
Yeah,
he would only understand if she was like, "Oh, I signed an NDA and I couldn't do it." You know what I mean? That would be easier for him to comprehend, and that's kind of how we are as people. We don't really look at why someone feels intuitively that they need to behave a certain way, or they need to do a certain thing or not do a certain thing. We just kind of like get upset with them, and we don't listen. Like, okay, why do you feel you needed to keep that from me? He doesn't ask that question.
Yeah.
So that's a interesting way to, I think, compare the two characters.
There's also this kind of underlying, even though it's like very much in our face, this underlying theme of truth as well, getting the truth out. And
the truth is the marriage of communication and empathy.
Yeah, it's like the whole purpose of the movie is about getting the truth out, and not everybody, but people they have bad communication, they don't have enough empathy, they're lying to each other. The truth is getting all warped and mangled. That's why there's this big problem. That's why we need to kind of streamline everything down to understanding each other, so that the truth can more easily be presentable, and there's less confusion. And like even in the movie, they're like, is this AI? Is this do we know if this is real or not?
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the problem today, even with AI and even our own governments, like getting into that stuff. We don't know what to believe anymore. We don't know how to believe anymore, because there's so many ways to falsify it.
But we really want to believe. Yeah. That's what Hugo tells Noah.
And I think it's so ridiculous that people are like, this is too naive, this is too optimistic, people are too cynical, they don't believe in this stuff. What matters, who cares if we find out if aliens are real or not? We won't believe it. It's like, well, what about all the Epstein file stuff? Like, so that doesn't matter either, so we're just gonna like drop that? We need to come together to find out the truth about the nature of things, and like the bad things that have happened in our history, and the good things, and the things in between. We just need to know the truth so that we can understand it for the future. And we can understand it for ourselves, and how to communicate and how to be better.
Well, yeah, and I don't think this movie even is... Like, people are weirdly criticizing this movie for believing that people would stop World War III because of empathy and because of the belief in alien life, right?
Yeah.
I don't think this movie's saying we would. I think it's movie saying, I hope you can.
Yeah.
And this is how you could.
Yeah.
Because the ending of this movie, you'll notice, doesn't actually show people in the world, like outside of our main characters, going... Like, there's not a single character that's not, like, a named character we've seen before. We see the reaction of Wyatt Russell's character and the nun as well, and they seem a little more emotive. But everyone else feels weirdly neutral about... Like, they're kind of, like, looking at it, they're like, oh. Like, they're confused. Like, they don't know what's going on. And so when Emily Blunt says, listen, at the end, it's, like, telling everyone. It's, like, listen, like to what... what we've just told you need to, like, how you need to respond to truth.
Yeah.
The movie is not about being scared of the truth or what the power of the truth. It's the power of how we respond to the truth.
Yeah.
Because we do deserve the truth. You know, that should be a human right. It's like air or light, like Daniel says.
Yeah.
Like, we should be able to know objectively what is true. But there's the reason, you know, a lot of people try to hoard the truth and to protect their own wealth, and a lot of people believe that we don't deserve the truth because of how horribly we treat each other, but maybe we treat each other horribly because we don't have the truth and we don't know what it is. Exactly. And so we are able to have all these disagreements, and we kind of have to take a leap of faith on the world and be like, and continue to be honest so that eventually we can get somewhere. Because if everything was disclosed like in that way, then, you know, we wouldn't have as much to fight about because we would all see it.
Yeah, it would all be there and known. And
yeah. But, you know, then... But it only works if we actually use empathy.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I think another people's complaints is the empathy device thingy. And
because it kind of seems like a MacGuffin that does whatever.
Yeah. Except... it's only a MacGuffin that does whatever because we don't understand what it does do. Mm-hmm. Like, even the people in the movie don't understand what it does. That's why they're so afraid of even trying to attack or shoot Daniel at the very beginning, because they're like, he's got the device. We don't know. Like,
yeah, we don't know what... It's not that they know it's going to do something bad. It's that they don't know what it's going to do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, again, this movie's all about the fear of the unknown. It's all about, like... You know, it's not about I don't know what's going to happen or what's true. It's not about I don't know what's true. It's about I know what's true. I just don't know how people are going to react to it, and that's what I'm scared of. Yeah. I'm afraid of people. You know, that's how all the characters feel.
Yeah, and I think another big criticism with the movie was how the Colin Firth, Noah, he just kind of lets them disclose everything near the end. Mm-hmm. And I think that's more of just looking at it at such a black and white perspective. It's like, oh, he's the bad guy, so he's there's no reason for him to just let them go. It's like, well, he's the antagonist in our film, but he thinks he's the good guy. He's trying to do the right thing by not letting it all get revealed and disclosed, because he thinks that will destroy humanity, that will ruin everybody. And then as the movie goes along, as he gets to become more empathetic with the people that he's trying to capture, I think at the end he finally sees that he is becoming the bad guy and that this needs to happen.
It's the bravest thing he does in the movie, because he says, you know, the whole idea that Margaret says on the Weather Channel at the beginning is don't fear what you don't know. And he just doesn't know what's going to happen to humanity if it goes out, and so he's afraid of it. Yeah. And he's clutching that, like, he wants to hold on to his own control over it and his own knowledge so that he doesn't have to face that fear. And at the end, he's essentially facing a fear because he realizes he's not alone in that fear.
Yeah.
I think. Also, I find it fun that, like, I find it interesting that when he's using the device to dive on Jane, like, kind of take over her, you actually compared it to like a possession, and she's clutching the crucifix, and that's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of people are also kind of dismissive of the whole religious analogy and like what it would mean to people of religion if aliens were real. Like, what does that mean about God? and he does in quite a nice way. Says that, you know, you don't have to not believe in God to also believe in aliens, or vice versa. There's still a middle ground in which, you know, belief is still necessary and needed in there. And I think that's like the most optimistic way that you can look at it.
Well, also, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's where like the whole, like, it almost feels like a demon possession whenever she gets dove into by Colin Firth's character, because it's like being it's like being possessed by like an evil being, like a devil, like, and then that's like a physical representation of her own inner demons, I guess. Like, do we pursue the truth, or do we want to like not and believe in what we want?
Because part of her wants to stop Daniel as well, and I think it's that he's playing on.
Yes.
Right? And he even uses her faith against her. He says some scripture to her. And what I love about that scene, line that I love, I think most stuff in this movie is a direct metaphor for empathy and the nature of it. Yeah. So you can take these lines almost out of context and apply them to the nature of empathy in a lot of scenarios. Like when Coleman Domingo, for example, says to Noah, you know, that device is not a weapon, it's not a magic wand, and it has capabilities far beyond your limited use of it. I think he is talking about empathy. When he says that people are seeing the unknown, they're seeing phenomenons in the world, and they don't know what it means, and they're starved for the truth. I think he is also, you know, he's talking about aliens, but he's also talking about empathy, because that's what the aliens are in this movie. It's like he's talking about, you know, you ever see someone help someone up when they fall, or, you know, help hold the door open for someone, just simple things, right? Feeling for another person that they don't know at all, that's a stranger. We see things like that out in the world, and they seem less and less common because either people are cold, or they're distracted, or they're scared of each other. And so when you see something like that, it's almost like seeing a UFO now. I think that's what this movie is equating. But back to my original point, which was that the line that Jane says in that scene with Noah is, she says, I don't like you, and he says, not required. And what he's saying is, you know, you don't have to like me to give me what I want, give me the information I need for this, you know, interrogation to work. But really what I take from it outside of that is you don't have to actually like somebody to empathize with them, to try to understand them, and to listen to them. Yeah. Like, that is, I think, a core value of empathy that we overlook, is that we think that to empathize with someone, we have to actually, like, have some kind of foundation of liking them, respecting them, you know, all these things. And no, actually, it's arguably the most important to empathize with people that you don't like. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, because, like, the reason you don't like them is because you don't empathize with them.
Or in some cases, you might not like them even though you do, but you still should and have to for the world to be a better place.
Yeah, you need to have that understanding. And again, that scene with Coleman Domingo and Colin Firth is like one of the best scenes, because, and it's ridiculous because it lays out exactly what the movie's about and what it's trying to say, and it's almost like it's going over people's heads. It's like they're trying to reject. It's like they're trying to reject the theme of the movie. It's saying that people are cynical, and they need to have empathy to fix the problems that we have today. And when people watch the movie, they're like, "Nah, that's not realistic. People are too cynical." It's like, yes, that's what the movie's trying to say, and now you're being cynical about the movie that's saying that you're being cynical. It's kind of like this kind of...
You're proving it.
Yeah, you're proving the movie. I get it. I get it where you guys are like, oh, that's not realistic. That's not how... But, I mean, movies aren't always supposed to be realistic in that way. Yeah. This movie is a big metaphor for a lot of things.
You know, the movie's not saying that it's accurate or realistic. It's saying it's possible. Yeah. It absolutely is possible. Just like the existence of aliens is absolutely possible, plausible even, right? But on the other side of that, let me just, you know, because if we're going to be consistent, we have to also say, I've been seeing some people saying that the people who don't like this movie just don't get it, and they just don't get the message, and I think that's maybe true for some people.
Yeah.
To those people, you can literally just tell them why you like it and why you think the message is good, and maybe they'll see a new perspective, and that's cool. But also, I think there are people who legitimately just did not enjoy the movie, and that's totally fine, and they don't have to not understand it in order to not like it. And there's this idea that goes around where it's like there is a correct opinion, and those that don't have it lack a certain thing. That's not how it works. That everybody can feel however they feel about the movie. But the important part is that we do listen to each other, right? And so I think even fans of the movie and the message can miss the point by saying stuff like that.
Yeah. I think, well, obviously every movie, you have your own opinion on it. And
sure.
You could not like this movie and, again, fully understand it, and you just don't vibe with it, or it's just not your thing, or whatever. But a lot of the criticisms I do see do feel very ignorant in their approach to criticizing or analyzing this movie, where they're only looking at like such a surface level approach to this movie. They're not digging deep enough. They're not trying to dig deep enough, which is, I guess, fine, because you don't need to wrap your entire existence around one movie and just think about it all the time. But
yes, you do.
But it does help to think about the movies that you watch and like what the movie's trying to say and what it's trying to convey to you. And if you don't like it because you disagree with it, maybe you should kind of look into why you disagree with it and why you think it's saying something that doesn't mean something to you, or vice versa, or whatever the case is. I just think that people they have this initial reaction to the movie, and that's as far as they go with it. There's no discussion. There is no like thought. There's just like, oh, this movie's saying this one thing, I don't like it. It's like, well, why is it saying that one thing?
Yeah,
what is it saying?
I think it just comes down to the fact that we could equally understand why someone doesn't like it or like the movie, and that is also, again, not accurate, maybe not realistic in this moment, but possible, and we should aim for that.
Yeah,
right?
I have no doubt that this movie in 20-something years is going to grow its own following. People will love it and finally kind of understand what Spielberg was going for. But that's kind of the thing with any movie that just comes out. It's like people put it in a place and a perspective of now, today, what's happening, what does it mean, how does this relate to what's happening in reality right now, and people don't have time to really sizzle on it and really digest what the movie's doing.
And that is probably because a lot of people, you said originally that there's prior knowledge of Spielberg and like UFOs that's kind of necessary for their full appreciation of this movie. Some people seem really somehow surprised that Spielberg was making a movie like this.
Yeah, I think that's actually like probably the most ridiculous thing, because there are people out here who have seen a lot of Spielberg movies, and then they watch this and they're like, he's so naive. He's so like optimistic about this thing that's like obviously like, it's like, no, it's not obvious. It's Spielberg. Like the theme of empathy is throughout his entire, like pretty much his entire filmography. Like, how do you go into this movie and assume that he's going to be completely grounded in a cynical perspective of aliens? Like, this is the alien guy that loves aliens and empathy and
empathizing with creatures you don't understand.
And like even movies in which it's not like sci-fi, like Schindler's List is literally about a guy who had enough empathy to save people during the Holocaust, and then he, by saving like these like 1,000 plus people, they were able to continue and live on and have families and like survive the Holocaust because of one guy's nature to have empathy. I mean, obviously, if you watch a movie, at first he just wants money, but then he grows to know these people, and he he suddenly starts to see how bad the situation is and that he needs to save these people.
He listens.
Yeah.
And you know something? There's a line in that movie, I think it's like the tagline, it's like, if you save one life, you save the whole world. World entire. Yeah, it's more eloquent than that. But, I mean, if having empathy could save one person's life, right? Allow them to live on, possibly, you know, start a family, and more lives come of it, but like also just even, you know, looking at it in just that small example, if having empathy could save one person's life, I'd say it's worth it to have empathy.
Yeah,
you know,
and it's about perspective. It's about everything. Look at any one of his movies. Minority Report. It's literally about this, like, it's like things aren't in concrete. It's not black and white. People are complex. Things are complex.
I mean, Minority Report explores the belief that, like, that, you know, this humans are going to do a bad thing. They're going to respond in this way. We know this for sure, so we shouldn't even try and believe in them. And that's kind of this movie. Yeah. It's like, oh, I'm afraid of how humans will react to this, so I have to keep it from them.
Yeah, I just find it ridiculous that people are coming into this fully knowing who Spielberg is and what he does in his movies. Or maybe the thing is, I also think that people don't look at movies in that way either. They just see, oh, Spielberg, fun action adventure filmmaker type. That's
you kind of get that with this movie too, though.
Sure, but I mean, it's also dealing with a lot of themes that are obvious and are associated with Spielberg, but then people are like, why is he doing these themes?
You know what? I'll say this. I think perhaps this is a movie that you have to be kind of on board with really thinking about these themes and listening to them and considering them. The movies, I think the enjoyment of the movie is more inseparably tied to engaging with its themes on a certain level than his other films maybe. His other films, you can kind of watch them and let them just happen and feel them without putting the conscious thought into it about what it's exploring thematically. Just enjoying beat after beat of what's going on. I feel like this movie functions more as a whole piece, that you kind of have to look at the whole piece and look at the themes, track it throughout the movie, and maybe people just weren't really willing to, again, listen and do that, and they were more looking for a Spielberg movie that was, I guess, more enjoyable without that, or just as enjoyable without that, whereas this movie is not. I think this movie, you have to involve that.
Yeah, this is... I think I can say that this is like advanced Spielberg. This is like an advanced course.
We're not trying to be pretentious to say people are stupid.
No.
Like, for instance, it's not that people don't get it. It's just I think people are looking for something where they don't have to put forth that.
Yeah, like for instance, there's novice Spielberg. You could watch Jurassic Park, and that's just like fun,
Dinosaurs
scary
are
adventure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sharks are awesome.
You could definitely look deeper into the movie in itself, and it has deeper themes like of technology and what we're able to create versus what we can control, and like all these different things about life and evolution and this great stuff. But when you just watch it as like on a surface level, it's just a great fun adventure thriller film with dinosaurs. This movie, advanced Spielberg. You have to understand Spielberg. This is post Fableman Spielberg. You got to understand what he's going
putting
for.
this. Yeah, he's doing it deliberate. He's not accidentally marrying music and computers and Close Encounters to imply his parents. He's doing that shit on purpose in this one.
Like Margaret, the Emily Blunt character, is very much like a representation of his mother, and then Daniel Kellner is very much a representation of his father. Hugo, the Coleman Domingo character, is very much a representation of himself as a director, putting them into a house in which he had to recreate, kind of like in The Fabelmans, in which he had to create his own childhood, to conjure up these lost memories and this kind of trauma. That's what he's doing in this movie. It's very metaphorical in that sense, and you could even see it from the sense of like Colin Firth being like the studio and him being like the director trying to do his own thing. Like
that's interesting. Yeah,
there's so many ways you could look and watch and put this movie together and have it make sense for you understanding what Spielberg is trying to do. You just have to do the work. You have to do a little bit of work watching this movie.
A little bit of homework too. And when that sequence happens with the trauma flashback with the alien abduction, in a sense, it's like people talk about the consent of that and like how that's actually really creepy and bad that the aliens did that. I do think it'd be interesting to examine this from the aliens' perspective, at least as much as we can, because it's like these aliens are for 80 years they're trying to communicate with humans. They're like trying to find a way to get through to people, and they realize that they need someone who's actually human to help them bridge the gap between the two species so that they can all empathize with each other, so that they can have connection.
So a lot of people have compared this to like Arrival and how that movie kind of deconstructs aliens and communication and even empathy and all that. Ironically, I think Arrival is a more improbable version of an alien visitation than even this movie, because in Arrival, they just kind of show up and we don't immediately like kind of attack it or try to figure it out. I feel like as Americans, as people, as cynical as we are, we would do a bit more violence against aliens.
We would be hostile because it's unknown and scary.
Yeah.
Whereas in this movie, you see that there is a whole track record of that happening, and they're trying to break that cycle.
Yeah.
And it's even like what the Korean guy says. It's familiar.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, that's kind of why the aliens need the empathizer and the communicator to translate their own voice to the world and to disclose, their existence. They need that's their way of communicating to the world, because they've been shoved and made secret by the government and what powers may be. Also, there's this criticism, even by pretty well-known like TikTokers, who say that the bad guys, Colin Firth's guys, are like the government. They're not.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that, and it's I think it's just like
they're associated.
A instinctual word to use when you see this big entity kind of with a lot of resources.
Yeah.
But no, it's a company. It's essentially like a tech guy, I think. But it's a company, and
they work with the government.
And they do, but I don't think they have access to like drones and missiles.
No,
and
even
things like
in
that.
the movie itself, they explain. Again, you guys aren't listening. They explain in the movie itself. They're like, no, we don't need you guys. If I need you guys, then I'll call you. But we don't need you to make a presence in this area or in this operation, because you'll call more attention to yourself, and then you'll make the situation even bigger. They're trying to minimize the eyes on the situation. That's why they're keeping it all in-house, and they're trying to do it that way. People are like, why don't they just use drones or something to catch them? They're not trying to use military operations to catch these people, because they'll make a spectacle of themselves. They're trying to lay low.
They're trying not to be the wrestling match.
Yeah.
Right? It's literally, that scene is literally a microcosm of it, because you have the wrestling match distracts everybody, and but really what's happening with them, their tactic is not big and obvious like that. And in the camera POV, it's like they just have a gun on Daniel, and they're like, you want to see her again? Yeah. Like, that's the kind of tactics they're using. It's very kind of subtle.
When it gets more like action-y and like the whole train sequence, that's like a guy
he kind of tries to make it. He is disobeying orders, but he kind of tries to make it look maybe like an accident.
Like an accident, yeah, by trying to push it to the train. Also, another callback to Duel, as well as The Greatest Show on Earth, which was like the first movie that Spielberg watched in which a car gets hit by a train.
That's true.
Like, again, you got to do a little bit of work watching this movie to connect all the fun little dots in it.
I mean, you have, and then right after that, you have Daniel putting Margaret's hands on piano. Of course, we talked about them being kind of like the parents. His mother was a pianist, Spielberg's mother, and all that stuff. I mean, Minority Report, Close Encounters, E.T., we've talked about that, and one thing I find really interesting is that he cast Goldie Hawn's son to play Jackson, Wyatt Russell, who is in a pursuit. Like they're a couple on the run for a second for a stretch of the movie, and that's what Sugarland Express is about, starring Goldie Hawn. Yeah, and I feel like that could be a little something.
Yeah, I always like whenever longtime filmmakers work with like the nepo baby of the previous act, like when Spike Lee worked with
John David Washington. That's right.
Things like that. I always find it like kind of fun, even though they're nepo babies. It's still like what?
Yeah.
If they got some talent, give them a shot.
Yeah, Wyatt Russell. Wyatt Russell's
really funny in this.
Oh
like, as like the boyfriend who doesn't really understand his girlfriend.
I also like again another comedic line that's like plays to the themes very well is when he tells the doctor about her dreams, and she's like, you shouldn't have told them that, and he's like, no, this is what you do. You pull your pants down from them, you tell them things. They're doctors. That's what you do.
Why are there FBI agents here?
Yeah. Oh yeah, the way he stretches that together was really funny.
So great.
Also, you pointed out that at one point Daniel and Jane are at a motel. It's called the Indiana Motel.
Yeah.
And that's Indiana Jones, maybe.
Indiana Jones. Also, I do believe in Close Encounters. One of the states that they start off in is in Indiana. Obviously, these are just small little things that might not even be Easter eggs, but I think they kind of are.
We find meaning anyway. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
It's like there's just like so much to dig into this movie. Let's talk about a few of the complaints that we've heard about that we could kind of maybe understand a bit more.
There's really one that I think we haven't touched on yet, and that's the CGI
animals. First of all, they're fine. You guys are overblowing
They don't look that bad.
They don't look that bad. Are they CGI animals? Yeah, obviously. You see them in all types of movies everywhere all the time. You guys aren't complaining when they happen in other movies. Why is it such a big deal in this movie?
But the main point, they're not fucking animals.
They're not even animals. They're not even real animals. They're literally like
they're literally
a disguise for the aliens.
They are a fake animal trying to look like an animal. So does that not work? I think that works.
Yeah, it kind of adds to the fact that they're uncanny. Like,
yeah. And also, I mean, there is one real fox in the movie.
Supposedly a real fox.
Supposedly a real fox. Yeah. Because she looks it in the eye and she's like, that's a real fox. I feel like she'd be able to tell at that point. And honestly, that's the worst looking animal in the movie, ironically.
Yeah.
But it's on screen for like 2 seconds. Yeah. And it doesn't even look, again, that bad.
Yeah, it doesn't look that...
It doesn't look any worse than your average CGI animal.
It doesn't look any worse than the fox in The Green Knight. Love that movie. Great movie.
That fox talks, but...
That fox does talk, but also, like... There's aliens in this movie. What are you guys talking about? Could they have used real animals? Sure, probably would have cost more. They would have had to done a lot of...
Maybe could have used the real fox for that one scene, and then it would have been incredibly obvious that they were doing the CGI like that on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you can't just use real animals on set. It would have been better, yeah, but it's also hard to direct animals in certain ways.
You got a moose and a little cardinal bird, and
a deer.
What is it? Oh, was it not a moose? I remember having really big...
It has antlers.
I guess I remembered it having the moose antlers and not the...
No, it's a deer.
No, you're right. It is totally a deer. It's a big deer. I don't know why I remembered it having like the solid...
No.
Why did I say that? That's weird. Anyway, you have a deer
Yeah.
and a cardinal bird acting opposite a child.
Yeah.
They couldn't. That's you can't use a real deer for that.
It's like again, when I say that people are having these very surface level like criticism, it's like, really, CGI animals is the breaking point for you guys. We have movies with like talking animals in them all the time, and this is the movie in which you're like, nah, unrealistic. It's a movie about aliens. What are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Chill out. Another thing that I really liked in this movie is kind of the video game logic that he does when he's like stealthing around, which a lot of people will call like say, oh, that's BS. They would have noticed he was there. Get over yourself. You guys are the same people that play video games and are playing these like Last of Us, like Metal Gear Solid.
It's shot the same way.
It's shot the same. It plays the same way. Why does this movie? Why can't this movie have video game logic?
It does throughout the entire thing.
It does, but like, why can't it? Like, what's so bad
Even
about
the
it? It's
scene
cool
where they have all the invisible stuff going on. It's
also
very video game.
If you didn't know, Spielberg is a big gamer. He basically invented the first-person shooter, military first-person shooter with Medal of Honor. Like he created that game, which would then be influences for like Call of Duty. Also, the fact that he wanted to make a Call of Duty movie, and Paramount shut him down for that. You guys are some like, oh. Has some pussies for that. Like, I can't believe you would turn down Steven Spielberg, who made Saving Private Ryan, who wants to do a Call of Duty movie, and you're like, no.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
How stupid are like this is the whole like Paramount being like bought out by the Ellisons. This is like why they're so stupid. They're like, oh, we'll give more filmmakers chances, and we'll no, you're not. You're not even giving Spielberg a chance. Like how? How are you so? How are you so stupid to do that? Like you guys, like this is ridiculous. Anyway, off topic. Spielberg is a big gamer, and I think that was just really cool to have him kind of have this little set piece that's kind of like a little video game moment.
Yeah.
I think we kind of went through a lot.
I think we went through everything we had written down with this one, but. I mean, this is a packed movie.
It's a packed movie. Again, like I said, if you've seen it one time, watch it again. Watch it again. Look for all these little things. Kind of try to understand what the movie is doing, what it's saying. Each shot means something. Each moment with the characters, they mean something. They're not just something to be thrown away. I was also talking to some people, and they're like, oh, we didn't need that character in the movie. It's like, yes, we did. What are you talking about? We didn't need that character in the movie. Yes, we did.
I do want to apologize to Courtney Grace. Courtney Grace plays the news anchor at the end that is seeing the alien footage. I watched this and I thought at first, I was like, oh, that took me out of it because she's like talking about, oh, this is raising profound questions about the nature of our existence and like... You know, she's kind of explaining what you should be feeling about the aliens, and I thought that was weird. I was like, why are you telling me it raises profound questions and not just letting me feel that? But then I realized, I watched it through a different lens on a following watch where I was like, because everyone was like, this actress is so good, and I was like, well, I think she did a good job, I just didn't like the dialogue.
Yeah.
But then I watched it again, and I was like, oh, okay. So... what we're watching is I was reading it initially as like her saying that. She's reading a teleprompter of what to say about it.
Yeah.
But she's responding like a human to this amazing thing she's seeing. So she's struggling between maintaining her profession and the overwhelming emotion of seeing this. And once I saw it like that, I was like, oh no, that's actually incredible because that's exactly what they would want the news anchor to say, and she's saying it, but she's cracking.
She's feeling a human emotion,
and so it's actually very much works for the movie because it's like it's breaking the the coldness of how, even Margaret at the beginning has the weather shimmy. She kind of has a personality with the way that she does the weather. Whereas you look at the news anchors, and she wants to be a news anchor. Like, she wants to put that, and she struggles to be stoic in that way, with her audition, which is not
She
bad.
Doesn't have that communication, but the thing that she needs.
Yeah. The stoicism, the ability to, like, say things that you're told to say. It's like she has to feel it, right? And the weather, it's like real. You feel it. I mean, she talks about the curtain of warm water, the window. Like, she's very attuned to nature, I think. And so when it comes to the other news anchors as well, they kind of even cut them off in the movie when he's talking about this is the worst we've been since the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he cuts off. They're very, like, stoic, kind of just, like, delivering the words. Yeah. And so to watch that anchor at the end kind of break and watching that facade kind of crack, and it's like, like, the disconnect between, the person delivering the news and the news itself is now, that window is gone. Yeah. It's like now this person's not just delivering the news, she's feeling it with the other people. She is literally empathizing, and the people watching can empathize with her because she is feeling the heaviness of what's going on.
Yeah. Kind of like the point of the movie.
It was a long-winded way of saying I did not get it the first time I saw it.
Most people probably don't.
Thought that shit killed the vibe and was corny and was too much, right? And then I rewatched it, and I really tried to understand how it ties into the rest of the movie and all the things that set up that moment, and I was getting emotional at the end to the very thing that I was criticizing before. My point is, watch the movie again.
Yeah, watch the movie. Also, this criticism is like really, really, actually really stupid, because they're like, nobody watches news anymore. Like this.
I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah, no, like, even in that one video we were watching, they're like, yeah, like, everybody's on their phone watching the news. It's like, that doesn't happen. It's like, yeah, have you not ever been on TikTok and, like, you're scrolling and then it's like some local news talking about something happening, or maybe your own, like, that happens to me all the time, like, on TikTok, on social media. So the fact that people are like, that would never happen, it happens today all the time. What are you talking about? Are you just like, is your, like, feed just brain rot and that's all it is, that you don't even see news that just happens every once in a while? Like, what are you talking about?
When Remain comes out, I think I'll be also this passionate about the critiques.
It's so there's so many bad takes on this movie.
I agree there are bad takes on the movie. There are so many bad
takes on this movie. It's like, oh, you didn't even think about what you were saying when you said that bad take, did you? Anyway, we love this movie.
Yes.
What would you give it? I know what you would give it.
Come on. My favorite number. 5 apples in the box out of 5. Come on.
I do think I am being slightly biased by saying 5 as well, but I mean, fuck it. It's 5. It's
5?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think
we piecing it all together, though.
I think the reason why I kind of struggle to give it 5 is because, again, Spielberg is just my favorite filmmaker of all time. I feel like I am just being biased.
Too obvious.
But also, it's like the dude has made 5-star films his entire fucking career. Like, of course, like, this is just probably another one that's going to grow over time.
And you're going to give it a 5 eventually.
Yeah, like,
right?
This is, like, already, like, the second time watching it around, I was like, this is so much better than the first time watching it. The first time,
when it's your favorite director, I think the first time, that's a test run.
Yeah.
That's like a...
That was like me watching, like, One Battle for the first time.
Exactly.
I was just like, I need to see this, like, immediately.
I felt that way with Trap, too. I was just like, oh, hold on, there's ideas happening now. I didn't even know, I didn't even think about. What the fuck? And you have to, watch it once is never enough with this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Again, this is advanced Spielberg. You gotta think about it a bit more than his other stuff.
But also, okay, you've spent about an hour and a half, give or take, listening to us. The idea behind this movie is listening, so we would like to listen to you too. So please leave us a comment, write us an email, tell us why we're being we're glazing the movie too hard, or we're being stupid. Tell us what you think about it as well, because it's a two-way street.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that this is a flawless movie. There's definitely
of course not.
things about this movie that even we've mentioned that are kind of iffy, but the movie accomplishes what it's trying to do.
I agree. And,
like, what more could you want from a movie than to accomplish the thing that it's trying to do?
Exactly. Exactly. I think that is all it really comes down to. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on before we wrap up?
We talked a lot about a lot of this. I think we hit most of the stuff that we wanted to say.
Yeah, this was a great conversation. I do love talking about this movie. I think we really captured why we liked it.
It really grows on you.
It really does. And I think I'll go see it a fourth time.
I'll definitely see it a third time.
Yeah, maybe we'll catch maybe we'll try to catch
maybe this will be my one battle.
Maybe we'll try to catch a 70mm showing or something.
Ooh, yeah.
But yeah, let us know if you've seen this movie, what you think of it. Like I said, let us know what format you saw it in, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what theater you saw it at, what you like about that theater, what you don't like about that theater. I don't know. Tell us anything.
Yeah.
Disclose it all. So we will see you guys later. I've been Peyton.
And I've been Adryon.
And we'll see you next time on the Apple Box.